In our last episode of 18th Century Cooking with James Townsend and Son, we made common milk pancakes. Today we're going to be making a much finer version of pancake called a quire of paper from John Farley's cookbook, The London Art of Cookery. Thanks for joining us. Quire is a term borrowed from bookbinders and printers. It's a bundle of pages that are put together, folded over, and bound into a book. Our recipe today is a quire of paper, which is an 18th century version of modern day crepes. The ingredients we're using today would be a bit expensive in the 18th century. This recipe would likely have been enjoyed by the gentry as opposed to common folk. We're going to start off this recipe with just 3 tablespoons of flour. I know it doesn't sound like much, but just 3 tablespoons. To that we're going to add a good pinch of salt. We're going to add 2 or 3 teaspoons of sugar. And we're also going to add some ground ginger to this, which is very common in all these recipes. About a teaspoon of ground ginger. In a separate bowl, we're going to mix our wet ingredients. I've got 3 eggs here and about a cup of cream. I've got 4 ounces of melted butter. I know, it sounds like a lot. Now we're going to add to that sack. I've got we're going to add about 3 tablespoons of sack. Maybe just a little more. There. And for our final ingredient, we've got orange blossom water. We need about a tablespoon of that. You can get orange blossom water online or at a Middle Eastern market. Now I'll add the dry ingredients. Don't be alarmed by how runny this batter is. If you find your mixture a little too lumpy, it's probably the butter too cold. Try warming up your mixture, it'll probably smooth right out. I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of our batter here. And then we're going to spread it out. You'll want to brown these until they're nice and crispy on the edges. You want to make sure these are separated from the pan. Then get your spatula under the far edge and flip it. These can be very difficult to flip over in the pan. Many of the recipes called for the experienced cooks to actually flip them in the pan without a spatula. They are very tricky to flip over. They do take a good bit of practice. You can sprinkle a little bit of sugar on this and then squeeze a little lemon on it, or for a different sauce, you can have a little sugar, butter, and sack. It's delicious.